Welcome back, my little egg-sucking weasels. Today we are going to talk about how to get the Fight Club physique. Have you ever seen that movie, Fight Club? It's a weird movie, but Brad Pitt's in it and he looks super lean and hard and sharp. I also consider this the martial arts physique, a Bruce Lee physique. It's the fighter's physique. And it's a physique that has always appealed to me. My background is Taekwondo. That's how I first got into fitness. That's how I took myself from a chunky little monkey to whatever I am right now. You can look at pictures or whatever, but not too long. And the purpose of this video is to sell you on the Fight Club physique, if you're not already. I mean, who sees a physique like that and is like, not for me. Yeah, everybody wants to look like that, right? Not just to sell you on it, why I think this is a physique worth pursuing, but actually tell you how to get it. And I have a really cool training method. It's a bit unconventional that I think you will be able to implement and get awesome results with, so that way you can look harder and leaner and all that good stuff. So what is the Fight Club physique? What do I have in mind here? Well, I can show you some pictures. That probably would help, but I can also describe it. To me, it is a sinewy physique. It's almost scrappy. You know, when you have these classic martial artists, Bruce Lee is of course a famous example, but I think he's a good one. You have a physique that is dense. It is densely muscled and it looks functional. It looks like it can do things. And not only that, it tends to have a lot of hidden strength. People who have this physique tend to actually be even stronger than they look, but they look really strong. They have the body fat of a leaf. Their back just looks like a landscape of power. I could go on with the poetic imagery, but that would probably gross you out. You know what it looks like. It's attractive and you want to have it. Here's why I think it's worth pursuing. One, this type of physique is actually attainable. It's not like these wild, huge physiques that you see on social media where people will kind of lead you on to thinking this is possible, but then they're taking all sorts of enhancements and pharmaceuticals, and it's just not realistic. This sort of physique is realistic. It's not necessarily easy, but you can look like this. You know, most men and most women really can develop a physique like this with good, hard work and an intelligent training plan. So it's not only realistic, it's compatible with good health, high energy. So I think for me, this is sort of the ideal physique, because when it comes to fitness, I've always thought that health, which is something like the ideal interplay of your organs and bodily systems, should never be conflicting with your fitness, which is the ability to complete a task. Whatever you're doing fitness-wise should really work to enhance your health. It should make you a more vibrant and energetic person. That's what I'm all about. But we know that that is not what the fitness industry is all about. Oftentimes people will expense their health just to look a certain way. I don't think you have to do that to develop this Fight Club physique. So one more thing before I get into the question of how do you actually get a Fight Club physique. This actually relates to what I call the problem of shirts. Yes, there's a problem with shirts. And it's really this. When it comes to most guys, if you're not willing to do drugs, you sort of have a fundamental choice. Do you want to look better with your shirt on or your shirt off? This is the problem with shirts. And here's what I mean by this. If you want the Fight Club physique where you're lean and you're hard and you're densely muscled, you can still look good with your shirt on. You'll still look plenty good, but you will only wow people when your shirt is off. Now the reverse is, if you're willing to add a little bit extra fat and to be a little bit bulkier, then you can look better with your shirt on. But then when your shirt comes off, you might have a little bit of a belly and a little extra, loving on you, stuff like that. So this video is really for people who want to look better with their shirt off. Still good with your shirt on, but keep a little surprise there. And then, whenever you're at the volleyball game at your local Foxview bowling alley tournament, because some bowling alleys have volleyball, apparently, I just heard that recently. That is going to be your moment. You are going to be the king of that evening. And that's what you will have lived for, and you'll have done it, and then you can move on with your life. All right, so how to get the Fight Club physique? Let's get right down to it. The technique I really want to share with you is this idea of you want to train on the extremes. And this relates to some fitness advice that I got early on that really wasn't very good. When I was first trying to get into shape and develop this sort of physique, this was always an ideal physique for me, I was told to do lots of long, slow cardio. I should go out and I should run long distances and I should do a lot of aerobic training. Aerobic means with oxygen, because this is the fat burning zone. So I would go out and I would run and run and run. I'd pedal my little bicycle. I'd go up and down my street, my neighborhood. And it wasn't awful. I did lose weight, but I really just got skinny fat. So I did lose weight and I was happy about that, but I never got anywhere close to the physique I actually wanted, which is a Fight Club physique. And what I learned later on when I actually got serious about martial arts is I learned that I should be training on the extremes. What does that mean? It means to train on the extreme ends of the intensity spectrum. So when we're talking about one end of the intensity spectrum, we're talking about very high intensity forms of exercise. And by that, I mean metabolic resistance training. This is where we're not just doing, good resistance training where we're working with heavy loads or even our own body weight in challenging ways, but we're turning them into circuits and complexes. These are like the total body beat down type of workouts. If you followed me for a while, then my channel is full of these. Kettlebell complexes are a perfect example of this type of high intensity training where we're training multiple muscle groups and energy systems simultaneously. We're cycling through various movement patterns. So we're getting a profound metabolic effect, a huge after exercise calorie burn that just continues for up to 72 hours, as research has shown. So that's one end of the extreme we want to really focus our training around. And then the other end of the extreme is really very low intensity stuff. And a great example of this would just be brisk walking, but it could be gardening, any sort of ongoing activity where you are moving your body in space-time, but you could easily maintain a conversation, and it could serve as a sort of active recovery. So if you want the Fight Club physique, my first bit of advice is you need to have a training program that focuses you on the extremes. You're spending more time on the extremes of the intensity spectrum than you are in the middle. Now let me qualify a few things before I give you more detail. It's not wrong or bad to engage in the more moderate intensity stuff. There's nothing wrong with going for a jog or a swim for a considerable amount of time or distance. There's actually a lot of benefits of doing so. But we're talking about efficiency. And if you want that truly hard fighter physique, you need to occupy at least several days per week the far end of the intensity spectrum to force your body to grow, to force your body to put lean muscle down and to become more metabolically efficient. One of the major problems with this training in the middle with moderate intensity exercise is, yes, you're in a fat burning zone, but your body just doesn't exclusively burn fat in that zone. It will go to glycogen and it will burn muscle tissue as well. So if you're not hitting the higher intensity metabolic resistance training, your body will just eat away muscle. You could actually become less muscular from that. And this is why when you look at a lot of endurance athletes, they tend to not be all that muscular. That's fine if that's their thing. No judgment. It's just not what I'm about, right? So you can lose weight that way, but it's not the most efficient way to recompose for the Fight Club physique. Here's the other cool thing. When we talk about metabolic resistance training, which is anaerobic without oxygen, we are using glycogen as the primary fuel source. An analogy that is sometimes used to show the range of benefits of this training is a ladder. To get to the anaerobic without oxygen state, you have to pass through the aerobic. So you actually get aerobic benefits as you climb up that metabolic ladder. As you're escalating the intensity, you pass through the aerobic zone, and then between sets, you come back down. So you really get the best of both worlds when it comes to this kettlebell complex metabolic resistance training. And then you just add the extra low intensity walking. I'm a big fan of brisk walking or hiking or whatever you want to do, just to facilitate further calorie burn, fat loss, and for me, it's active recovery, stress management, all that sort of stuff. So in practice, I recommend this. I recommend having somewhere between 3 to 4 days per week where you engage in intense metabolic resistance training. I'm a huge fan of kettlebell complexes. In fact, I will link some of my favorite kettlebell complex routines right below. Another thing would be just high intensity interval training, sprints. My 300 swings kettlebell challenge, which we have a new one of those coming up, would be another great example of metabolic resistance training. So 3 to 4 days a week of that. There's lots of ways you can get it done. I love the kettlebell for its efficiency, but you could do it with barbells, you could do it with your own body weight. There's a range of options here. It's the principles that matter. Principles are the thing, my friends. And then, really as much as you can, preferably every day, you are just moving frequently at a low intensity. Try to get out for a brisk walk, enjoy the sunshine. The sun has long been my favorite planet. And then, 1 or 2 days a week, if you feel like you want to get out and go for a jog, go for it. It's not going to hurt much and there will be some benefit there, but we're talking about efficiency and programming in a way that you actually get the outcome that you want. One last tip. If you really just like running, but you want to have more benefits that will push you toward a physique that is leaner and harder and, Fight Club-like or whatever, then try interval running. Interval running is a really great technique to hit the different ends of the intensity spectrum, and it's really simple too. So what you'll do is you'll start with a jog, just jog for a few minutes or a certain distance. You'll turn that jog into a sprint, which will be naturally short-lived, just a couple of seconds. You're just going to go all out. And then you will walk for a few minutes for active recovery. So you will jog, you will sprint, you will walk. I love to do this in my neighborhood. We just have a nice little loop and a hill. So I'll sprint up the hill and we'll kind of walk back down, walk for a little bit, jog once I get back to the hill. It's not too structured, but I have a good pace to it. And that will help you to really occupy the extremes more and build this type of physique that we're talking about, because sprinting indeed is quite effective for this. There's a reason that there's usually a profound physique difference between sprinters and endurance athletes, and it's because of a lot of this stuff that we're talking about. Now, there is one kind of major missing component to all this, and that is the nutrition side. Fortunately, I spoke a fair bit about nutrition and body recomposition in a previous video, so I want you to go check out my video on the ultimate fat loss combo, and I'll be doing another video focusing more on nutrition specifics and how to work in calorie cycles and protein intake and even intermittent fasting. Those are all really important factors. They're critically important factors for your aesthetic and performance outcomes, but it's just not the scope of this video. I really wanted to focus on the training side. So to summarize everything that I have said so far, the Fight Club physique is not only super aesthetically appealing, at least to me. It's lean, it's hard, it's wiry, it's sinewy, it's scrappy. It just looks like it. It's a mean physique. It's cool, right? You can get it. It's realistic, it's attainable, it's sustainable, and it is definitely compatible with vibrant health. That's why it appeals to me. And the best way to forge this type of physique is to occupy the extremes. Forget about spending a ton of time with moderate intensity cardiovascular efforts. Think jogging for distance on a treadmill. Instead, focus on spending time on the extremes. High intensity, short bursts of exercise, metabolic resistance training, kettlebell complexes, circuits, combos, chains. They're all over this channel. Go take your pick. And then as much walking, mobility, and active recovery as possible. Let me know what you think about this video, and I'd be curious. Here's a question for you. In the comments below, are you a shirt on or shirt off type of person? What type of physique is appealing to you? Do you like to look more filled out in your shirt or your everyday attire, even if there's a little bit of extra loving going on? Nothing wrong. Some people like the extra loving. That's fine. Or do you like to be the person that kind of keeps a little bit back and then, you know, surprises people, wows people when it comes to that pool party or volleyball game? Let me know. I'm just curious to see what appeals to all you gentle listeners and all you egg-sucking weasels. So my name is Pat Flynn. It's good to have you here. If you want to subscribe, please subscribe. If not, please don't bother. But do like the video on the way out. That would be helpful. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace. Strong on.